What I'm going to show you now is a small part from YouTube, which I saw Bible quotes, the proof of God. One can see it is a very long one, very impressive. But I took a small part and explaining it as is to do with the number 50 and 49. 50 is a number which is very much connected with the Bible code. As it was mentioned there, that 50 is an important number. In Judaism, 50 days from Passover to Shavuot, when you go to the Torah, 50 known to be important numbers, being 50 gates of understanding, 50 gates of purity. Moses got it just before his death. So there's a lot about number 50. And this is exactly what we are going to see here. And then I will show you how it appears in Bible code, which is also very important. So let us see now what you have here.
Rabbi Michael Ber Weissmandl, a childhood Talmudic and mathematical prodigy in Czechoslovakia prior to World War II, survived the Holocaust and after the war emigrated to the United States. Weissmandl, while still a young man, had stumbled onto the notes of the 13th century Rabbi Bakya, suggesting that divine information could be derived from the Torah by means of skipping a specific interval of letters. Now, with all the horror behind him, Weissmandl returned to the fascination of his youth, the possibility of a mysterious Bible code.
Rabbi Weissmandl, through his diligence and determination in his studies of the Torah, made some remarkable discoveries. The word Torah in Hebrew consists of 4 letters, a Tav, a Vav, a Resh, and a He, which are equivalent for us to talk about it as if it was a T, an O, an R, and an H. We should note here that the Hebrew alphabet consists of 22 letters that are essentially consonants. Vowels are generally simply inferred. The Vav operates sort of what we would consider as an O, but is not considered a vowel. In the book of Genesis, if you go to the first equivalent of a T and count 49 letters, and then take the next one, in other words, the 50th letter, is the equivalent of what we would consider a Vav. It's what we would consider an O. You count another 50 letters, it's a Resh, or like our R. You count another 50 letters, and you come to a He, or like an H. In other words, it's as if you found a T-O-R-H at 49 letter intervals. It spells the word Torah. Rather remarkable in its own right, but one of those things you could dismiss as just a happenstance. But when you get to Exodus, you discover the same thing happens. You come to a T, 49 letters plus 1, you get to the O, the R, and the H the same way. And so again, this starts to look very designed. In fact, it's rather interesting that this number 50 are the number of days from the Exodus to the giving of the Torah at Mount Sinai. In pursuing this further, you go to the book of Leviticus, the 3rd book, and nothing like this happens. But you go to the 4th book of the Torah, the book of Numbers, the same thing happens, but only if you spell Torah backwards. Kind of weird. You go to the book of Deuteronomy, again you find the equivalent thing, but only if you spell it backwards. Now, you wonder, what does this mean? And you stand back from it all. It's as if those 4 books are pointing to the middle book, 2 forward, 2 back, to the book of Leviticus. So you examine Leviticus more carefully, and you discover not 49 letter intervals, but 7 letter intervals. Every 8th letter, you have the word Yahweh, or the name of God. And you stand back from this whole thing, and you realize that Torah is always pointing to the name of God. Rabbi Weissmandl's discovery is the first modern hint of hidden codes in the Bible, and of course has led to using computer to find others. Professor Daniel Michelson at UCLA has estimated that the probability of Weissmandl's discovery happening by accident is less than 1 in 3 million.
This discovery also has great significance to the ancient menorah lampstand, still used in Jewish practices today.
Like the lamps in Israel's ancient lampstand, the Hebrew word for law was encoded at 50-letter intervals in the opening paragraphs of Genesis and Exodus. The Eastern lamps point toward the servant lamp, the lamp of God, which was elevated above the others. Leviticus reveals that servant lamp design with Yahweh, the Hebrew word for Jehovah, encoded in 8-letter intervals in its opening verse. In the ancient menorah, the western lamps were reversed to point toward the servant lamp. Following that design, the word Torah was found to be encoded backwards in the introductory paragraphs of Numbers and Deuteronomy. Just as the lamps on either side of Israel's ancient...
Now we'll see what it has to do with Bible code. So the first thing we will refer to a table in which you have the one Wistung found it, Iru beberur, they will see clearly hidden code in the Torah. Amazing. You can see it in red, they will see clearly. Minimally the Torah every 50 letters, so we see hidden code in the Torah every 49 letters. Amazing. Now, to show you clearly the connection, so you can see here the Iru beberur, you see clearly it's up in Torah, in my Torah, and you can see here on top the number of letters skip is 50. All come in book Genesis in few chapters, in fact almost in one chapter 41, because we speak about a small area. Now definitely there's a deep idea behind this. There is much more that you heard, because there is a Kabbalistic explanation why the books, the Genesis and Exodus, as the Torah coming up or down, and number and 49 backwards, and in fact, the 4 books have skip of 50, but the Deuteronomy 49. And the reason is because the 4 books were given directly from God, but the Deuteronomy, it was from God, but Moses really heard it and he brought it. And Moses got only 49 level of understanding. Only before his death he got the 50th. So it's amazing to see how significant is this finding of Don Vinci. Iru beberur, they will see clearly every 50 letters. But now we have Sofen Chabur, we have 49. It's still hidden. But the most interesting is definitely it feels like the menorah, because the 5 books of Moses correspond to the 5 parts of the soul. In Kabbalah, it is known, the first one, the highest one is called Yechidah, the unique one. The second one, Chaya, the living one. This is really the aura. Then you have the Neshama, the soul, the brain. And then you have the Ruach, which is the spirit to do with the emotion in the heart. And then you have the lowest one, the Nefesh, the spirit. And this is the lowest. You have 5 parts, and the 5 books of Moses represent it. Now, the upper 2 are like an aura, brings the energy, the life into the brain, which is every 8 letters we saw. This is the book of Leviticus. And the purpose of man, which is in Numbers and Deuteronomy, to elevate it. This is why it is upside down. So the shape of those 5, like the menorah, have much more to do with the explanation because it is clearly indicating to the essence of man, to the neshama of man. And the man, by keeping the Torah, definitely can elevate himself to a high level. And this is why Leviticus is every 8 letters, because 8 is the same letter like neshama. In Hebrew, neshama is soul and shmona, because the 8 is like the 50th, represent a lower. It means the lower is a 7, and the highest is a 8, and this was the neshama is. And 50 also, 50 is above 7, because 49 is 7 times 7. So very interesting idea, explanation. As we said, that the idea which was really very nice introduced in this site in the YouTube which I saw about the proof of God. No doubt there's a course of the proof of God, but the idea goes really much deeper if you go into Hebrew letters and Gematria and so on. So very interesting and significant idea behind the 50 and the 49.